The Galactic Academy's cafeteria buzzed with the usual mix of languages, pheromone clouds, and electromagnetic chatter, as students from across the known galaxy shared their midday meal. At Table 7, however, the atmosphere was decidedly hostile. "Look at it trying to eat with those primitive manipulator appendages," sneered Vexstar, his crystalline body refracting the light into rainbow patterns as he gestured toward the lone human sitting at the far end of the table. How did such a backward species even qualify for the Academy? His friends erupted in laughter, the harmonic tones of the melody, the chittering clicks of the insectoids, and the subsonic rumbles of the rock people. They were the elite students of advanced xenobiology, children of ambassadors and fleet commanders, representatives of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. And then there was Tommy Martinez. Tommy continued eating his reconstituted protein paste, outwardly ignoring the taunts he'd endured for the past 3 standard months since arriving at the Academy. At 17, he was average height for a human, with brown hair and unremarkable features. To his classmates, he represented everything primitive about his species. No natural weapons, no enhanced senses, no technological integration, no psychic abilities. "I heard Earth doesn't even have unified planetary government," added Zelthara, her tentacles writhing with amusement. "They're still divided into hundreds of separate tribal territories." "And they're military," chimed in Krogdan, his rocky exterior vibrating with mirth. "They use chemical propulsion and kinetic weapons." "Kinetic weapons? Like throwing rocks?" The laughter grew louder, drawing attention from other tables. Tommy felt his face flush, one of the many involuntary biological responses that his classmates found endlessly amusing. "Attention students," Professor Vexnali's voice echoed through the cafeteria's translation matrix. "Tomorrow's advanced xenobiology field trip to Sol 3, commonly known as Earth, will depart at 800 Standard Time. All students are required to attend." The announcement brought fresh waves of mockery from Table 7. "A field trip to the zoo," Vexstar declared. "How fitting that we study primitive life by visiting the most primitive world in the Academy's curriculum." Tommy finally looked up from his meal, his eyes meeting Vexstar's multifaceted gaze. "You might be surprised," he said quietly. "By what?" "Watching your people discover fire." The crystalline being's body flashed with derisive colors. Tommy said nothing more, but something in his expression made Zelthara's tentacles still for just a moment. The next morning, the Academy's research vessel, Scholarly Pursuit, dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. The ship was a marvel of Galactic Federation technology, capable of studying entire ecosystems without disturbing the local environment. "As you can see," Professor Vexnali began, gesturing toward the holographic display showing Earth in all its blue-green glory, "Sol 3 presents a fascinating case study in biological diversity, despite its inhabitants' technological limitations." The students pressed against the observation windows, eager to see the primitive world that had produced their unremarkable classmate. "Tommy," the professor called out, "perhaps you could provide some context about your homeworld's current political structure." Tommy stepped forward, still ignoring the snickers from his classmates. "Earth has 195 sovereign nations, Professor. But that's not really what defines us." "Oh, please," Vexstar interrupted. "Tell us what defines humans. Your inability to photosynthesize, your need for external clothing, your laughably short lifespans." Tommy was quiet for a long moment, looking out at his homeworld. "Our refusal to give up." Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. "Unknown vessels approaching," announced the ship's AI. "Configuration suggests military origin." Through the observation deck, the students watched as sleek, angular ships materialized around them, dozens of them, moving with precision that belied their apparent technological simplicity. "Those are Earth defense vessels," Professor Vexnali said, consulting her datapad with obvious confusion. But they're moving far too fast for chemical propulsion, and I'm reading energy signatures that shouldn't be possible with their technology level. One of the Earth ships pulled alongside the scholarly pursuit, and a communication channel opened. The face that appeared on screen was weathered, scarred, and unmistakably human. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You are in restricted space during a classified military exercise. State your business. Admiral, Professor Vexnali replied, clearly flustered. This is the Galactic Academy vessel Scholarly Pursuit. We're conducting a routine xenobiology field trip. According to our records, Earth has no space-based military. Admiral Chen's laugh was sharp and humorless. Your records are what we call cover stories, Professor. Tommy, good to see you, son. How's school treating you? Every eye in the observation deck turned to Tommy, who straightened slightly. Hello, Aunt Sarah. School's been educational. I'll bet it has. The Admiral's gaze shifted to encompass the stunned alien students. Let me guess, they've been telling you humans are primitive? The silence was deafening. Professor, Admiral Chen continued, with your permission, I'd like to give your students a more comprehensive education about Earth. Tommy's probably been too polite to mention that his father commanded the defense of Kepler 442b, or that his mother designed the quantum drives that make our ships faster than anything in your Federation fleet. The ship shuddered slightly as more Earth vessels appeared around them, their formations precise and purposeful. You see, Tommy finally spoke, his voice carrying a confidence his classmates had never heard before. Earth isn't a member of the Galactic Federation because we choose not to be. We're not primitive, we're careful. We've been watching the galaxy for 2 centuries, learning, adapting, waiting. Vextar's crystalline form had dimmed to barely a glow. But your weapons, kinetic projectiles, are incredibly effective, Admiral Chen interjected. Hard to jam, impossible to hack, and when fired at 90% the speed of light, quite devastating. Sometimes, the old ways are the best ways. We let you think we were simple, Tommy continued, addressing his former tormentors directly, because simple species don't get conquered. Simple species get dismissed, ignored, underestimated. And while you've been busy being superior, we've been busy being ready. Through the observation windows, the students could see Earth's surface in greater detail, now cities that gleamed with technology that rivaled anything in the galaxy, orbital installations that had been invisible moments before, and defense networks that made even the mighty Federation think twice. The field trip continues as scheduled, Professor Vexnali announced weekly. But I think we'll need to revise our curriculum. As the scholarly pursuit began its descent toward Earth, escorted by ships that represented just a fraction of humanity's true capabilities, Tommy found himself at the center of a very different kind of attention from his classmates. Tommy, Zelthara asked quietly, her tentacles curled with what he now recognized as respect rather than amusement. What else don't we know about humans? Tommy smiled, watching his homeworld grow larger in the viewport. You have a whole semester to find out. But here's a hint, we're the only species in the galaxy that considers impossible odds to be a challenge, rather than a death sentence. The bullying stopped that day. In its place came something far more valuable, the understanding that sometimes the quietest student in the class has the most to teach. And Earth, beautiful and blue, and far more dangerous than anyone had imagined, continued its ancient rotation, keeping its secrets and protecting its children, just as it always had.